I was inspired to run by a lot of predecessors. Being born and raised in Eureka Springs, I've known a lot of different mayors, and also for me, it was a way to give back to the community. I've served on a lot of different planning commissions and historic district commissions, and this was an opportunity for me to give back to the city.
Okay, I decided to run for mayor of Eureka Springs here actually only 2 months ago. Mainly just because I love the town. And I've been a resident here for 5.5 years and a tourist for 30 plus years, and have always loved this town and the area, and felt like I wanted to serve in a greater capacity. I've been a member of the board of the Chamber of Commerce for about 1.5 years and leading a team on economic development, and just thought, you know what, this is an opportunity to serve in a greater capacity, and I think I have some experience that can come in handy with that position, and I decided to mark it off my bucket list. So that's why I'm running.
Well, I was born and raised in Eureka Springs many years ago. But I moved back to Eureka after spending time in Little Rock in 1996. So I've been back in Eureka Springs approximately 22 years.
I have lived in Eureka Springs for the past 5.5 years. And like I said before in the previous question, I've been a tourist here for over 30 years. And didn't know when I moved here permanently, when you move to a tourist town, you wonder, are you going to enjoy the town as much as a resident as you are a tourist? So I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but being here, plugging into the community, getting to know the people, understanding what it was like to be a resident of the town versus a tourist, my love for the town just grew. And so I'm still here after 5.5 years, and I don't plan on going anywhere.
The question is, have I served on a lot of different boards? And I have served on so many different boards. Have presently served on the Eureka Springs Historic District Board. I've served on the Eureka Springs Historic Museum. I'm also on 2 different nonprofit organization board of directors. I've just recently been asked to serve on the committee for the Opera in the Ozarks for their new facility out there. And of course, I've been on the Planning Commission for approximately 12 to 15 years. I was on City Council again for approximately 4 terms. I think that's about 8 years. And then of course, I've been the mayor for the last 4 years. So I've had a lot of different experience with nonprofit organizations, a lot of experience with different organizations, state, local, and county.
In terms of service on other boards and committees in the Eureka Springs area, for the past 1.5 years, I've been on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. And I've also led a team on economic development for the past year for the Chamber. So those are the volunteer positions that I've had on other committees and boards in town up to this point.
I think a person should be well versed in organization and good business practice. I also think that they need to be familiar and preferably have served on the city council and also other commissions in town, so you get a good sense of the community. I think it's important for a person to be here for a while to understand the character. Eureka Springs is so unique in its diversity that you have to stay here for a while to begin to understand exactly what it's about. And that includes serving your time on the city council, serving your time on various commissions, whether it's the Parks Commission or the Historic District or the Planning Commission.
Regarding preparations to be the mayor of Eureka Springs, I think a number of things are required. First off, there needs to be a good understanding of how the city works and how the government of the city works. And I have a lot yet to learn in that area because I have not served on the council up to this point. But I also believe that it's necessary, since we're a tourist town and 90% of our economy is based upon tourism. I think it's necessary that the leader of the town, the mayor, knows and understands the tourism industry very well. And so since I've been a tourist for 30 years before moving here 5.5 years ago, and since moving here, I've been involved in serving the tourist industry through lodging and retail. I think I have a unique qualification and perspective from the tourist side of things. The other thing is I graduated from the University of Arkansas with a business degree in 1982 and a master's in business in 1983. I went to work for J.B. Hunt as a management trainee. I ended up being senior vice president of operations for the company by the time I was 30 years old. It wasn't that I was that great, it was that the company was growing so fast. There were many key young people in key positions within the company. I ended up being founder and president of J.B. Hunt Logistics, creating 4 new divisions for the company over a 2.5-year period. Since leaving there, I've been an executive, a president, and a CEO, and a chairman of a number of small companies. So I believe that I bring a unique set of qualifications when it comes to executive leadership.
Okay.
Well, I have been chairman of 2 large multi-million-dollar nonprofit organizations that have had over 500 employees. I've also served on the planning commission since originally when I got out of college in 1973 and moved back to Eureka Springs. I was appointed by then Mayor Naff to be on the planning commission. So I got a good understanding of that organization. And then in 2002, I was appointed and elected to serve on the city council. And I've served 4 terms as city council. And I think more than anything else, I've also spent the last 4 years as mayor of this city. I'll be the first mayor in almost 40 years to run for a second term. So I think that gives me pretty good qualification because I now understand more about the city. I don't think a person can really fully comprehend what it's like to run the city until you've been in that position. And I think that makes me the best candidate.
Yeah, so regarding qualifications for the position, I really do believe that my knowledge of the tourism industry, from having been a tourist and now a local serving the tourist, is a big asset for me. And I do believe my education and my experience leading organizations, being the president and CEO of a number of large organizations and also startup operations. When I left J.B. Hunt, I ended up with an inventor of a new invention. And he had a prototype that was working and he had a patent that he had filed, and we had to build a company around that business. So there's a huge difference in starting something under the umbrella of a large corporation like J.B. Hunt with all the resources that they had there. I did that, but that was a different challenge from starting from scratch with limited resources and everything stops with you. And so I've had success in doing both of those things, and I think that success is transferable to being mayor of a city like Eureka Springs. And in doing that, I always understood the necessity of being surrounded by good people with great qualifications who are passionate about the same thing that you're passionate about, and together accomplishing a mission and a set of goals. And so as I think about Eureka Springs, I don't have all the answers, but I do have the leadership experience, and I do recognize that it's about a team moving forward for a future of the town.
Well, I think this question does deal more with the city council, although there are some other commissions that people have claimed that there's a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest arises when there is a fiduciary financial interest that a person has in another business that is directly affected by something that comes before them. As mayor, that would only occur with me if there was an architectural project that the city has coming up that I'm involved with. If there is, such as the auditorium, I recuse myself and find an architect that can deal with it. The same thing is true with the hospital commission. They're designing a new hospital, and I help select a new architect for that and stayed out of the architectural business of the city. But I think mainly it's the conflict of interest deals a lot with the city council members. There has been a question about conflict of interest with a commissioner serving on another nonprofit organization. But again, if there's not a financial interest involved, there really isn't legally any conflict of interest.
So regarding conflicts of interest, I don't have any conflicts of interest with the position that I know of today. Of course, I would want to consult with the proper city attorney and any other organizations to make sure that I fully understand what a conflict of interest would be and make sure that I comply with that both by the letter of the law and the intent of the law. I will say I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I'm about new things, building new things, envisioning new things. And I think that's an important part of what I'd like to do with Eureka Springs. In some cases, I might be directly involved in those new ventures and bringing new ventures to town. So I'll have to make sure that when the time comes, if there is direct involvement, that I abide by the rules of ethics of the city. And I commit to doing that.
Well, the question is, what do I hope to accomplish? And one thing is because running for a second term as mayor, I want to continue continuity on several of the projects that I've already started. One is the Mayor's Task Force on Economic Development. I want to continue that diversity and growth in economic development. I think it's important for us as Eureka Springs to diversify from our tourism, which is a great industry and a great product, but I think we need to come up with additional economic development and industry in this town to provide jobs for other people that provides year-round growth and incentives for people to live here. The other thing I think that's important for me and what I'm really excited about is for the first time we've been able to be eligible for continuing or the CDBG grant money. We just got through with a project at Flint Street that was a little over $200,000 to repair a tunnel. And what I'd like to do and what we're eligible for is to continue on with the grant application that would help us on our water and sewer. Our biggest water leak is between the depot and the sewer plant. We are the largest consumer of water for the water department. And that is a large leak. And the Economic Development Organization out of Harrison has told me that we're now eligible for money to repair that line. And we're talking about a $400,000 and $500,000 grant, or maybe possibly more, to repair that and to help the city. We're also, and I just got through applying for, and I'm real excited over this, is a grant to repair Black Bass Dam Lake, Black Bass Dam. Because this again has been on the agenda for over 10 years that I know of, probably 15. And this is a priority of mine that I want to get done. And again, this is something I'm hoping to do.
Okay, so I think we're floundering when we should be flourishing. And I think we got a lot of smart people and we got a lot of great businesses in town. And I think together we need to come up with a plan to increase tourism by a large amount. And it needs to be a smart plan, and it needs to be a well thought out plan, and it needs to involve all the people, stakeholders in Eureka Springs. So number one, increase tourism substantially. Number two, I think we need to diversify our economy. I think we need to bring some other companies in here. I think we need more full-time jobs, but it needs to be the right type of jobs. the types of companies and jobs that fits the culture and the history of the town. You know, we don't want a chicken plant right on Highway 62 next to McDonald's. You know, we want to bring in technology companies and arts related companies and health and wellness companies. So we need to diversify our economy. And lastly, I would say, I think we need a grand vision for the future of the town. What do we want to look like? Who do we want to be 10 years from now? Obviously, we want a better economy. We want empty buildings filled up. We want old rundown places restored and brought to life. You know, we want more jobs. We want our kids in school to be able to stay and work here rather than leave to go someplace else. So I think we need to develop also a grand vision for the future.
Well, one of the council's main objects is the budget, and they need to continue working on the budget. We've been so good in dealing with our budget. When I first came on board, we did not have any reserves at all. We were almost broke. We were within a month of having to lay people off. We had no reserves in our account. Finally, by tightening our belt and with the council approval, we've gone ahead and established a reserves for the first time in over 10 years. And so I think that's a critical issue that the council needs to keep doing and paying attention to. The other thing I think the council needs to look at is sustainability issues. I'm going to create a mayor's task force on sustainability. We've already gone a long ways. We're the first tree city in the United States. We're the first bee city in the state of Arkansas. We've developed a solar energy system for the transit department, but I think we have a lot more ways to go, and I want to develop that, and I think the council needs to be able to help look at that, and especially with low impact development. That's going to be a planning commission, but it's going to come before the council for development at that. And I think also we need to continue to look on what we can do for the legislation in that area. And we have a lot of laws that we need to look at and continue to look at and see what we can do to refine those.
Okay, so the question is, you know, what three things should the council focus on during 2018 to accomplish most important issues? And since I have not served on the city council, and since I have a somewhat limited knowledge of all the issues in the city right now, those council members know what the issues are. So my approach at this moment would be to continue to learn and understand more about the government of Eureka Springs, get to know the council members, both past, present, and future council members better. And if I'm elected to office, get together with them to put together an agenda for top items for the future. Obviously, one that keeps coming up all the time is parking. We definitely need a master transportation plan for the city. I don't know exactly what's in place today. All I know is, having been a tourist and having been a business owner in town and living in the downtown area for the last 2.5 years, we need to solve the current problem regarding parking, but as important, we need a master long-term plan for transportation and parking based upon our future vision for the community.
Well, the medical marijuana I'm looking very forward to seeing that come to Eureka Springs. I was very supportive of that when it came to the people to vote. And I've had several people come before me as the mayor and ask for resolutions, which I brought before the city council supporting the medical marijuana. I think we have at least 3 different groups that are applying for that facility, and I'm totally supportive of it. The council may end up having to do something. It's all such a brand new industry and development. It remains to be seen exactly what's going to happen. We may end up having to look at some different legislation, specifically for supporting the medical marijuana in regards to security and safety. But I think overall, the council is going to be on board with it because this is a great new industry. And this is exactly what I was talking about a new industry for Eureka Springs that's going to be here 12 months a year, 7 days a week, and it's going to bring in a whole new group of people. So yes, this is an exciting opportunity for Eureka Springs.
Okay, regarding medical marijuana, I am a supporter of medical marijuana in the state of Arkansas and in the city of Eureka Springs. In fact, part of my hope and plan for the future, we were founded upon the healing springs back in the 1800s. I believe that naturopathic healing, health, and wellness is an important part of the fabric of our community. And I think it needs to be a bigger part of the future of our community. I would like to see us become a research and development community focused on all kinds of naturopathic health and wellness initiatives. I think that should be a part of the future vision of the community. I think it's already in the fabric. It's already happening, but I'd like to see us move. I'd like to see us become a leader in that whole arena, not only within the state, but within the nation in the future. So I'm fully supportive and behind that. Regarding the council's direct involvement in any potential ordinances that might be related to that, again, I would have to say at the proper time I would meet with the council members and discuss with them what the options are and what potential things we might need to do with the city's involvement with that industry in the future.
Well, I was mayor when we introduced Ordinance 2223, which supported the diversity and the civil rights ordinance that protected the LGBTs. And I am so supportive of that. I think our population is comprised of a lot of members of that group. Growing up in this town, while a lot of people didn't realize it, we had members of the gay community living here anyway. And some of my best friends growing up were friends of the people who were gay. And so this is just, they're people. We're all people. And I think Eureka Springs should be proud that we passed this ordinance. I know that night that we passed it and the election came out, there was a big celebration down on Spring Street. And I don't think I'll ever forget that. And I'm so grateful to be able to be involved with that passage of that ordinance and be a part of it, because it was a wonderful night to celebrate. And it's still a wonderful idea for Eureka Springs. We're one of 2 cities in Eureka that have this, if I'm not mistaken. And I will do anything we can to continue and fight for the civil rights of all people.
Okay, regarding the LGBT community, absolutely supportive of that community. In fact, when my wife and I first moved to town in 2013, Ron and Jim, who owned Home Sweet Home, which was the old West Liberty Schoolhouse Cottage on Gretna Green, right off of Highway 23. They were the ones that were kind enough to open up their place and allow us to rent that place and lived there for 3 years. Paul and Calvin lived down at the end of the street, and they became great friends of ours. In fact, my son David works at Emilio's today as a server and a bartender. The reality is the LGBT community is an important fabric of the culture of this town, and I'm in full support. There are amazing people involved in the arts that are part of that community. Amazing people involved in the restaurants and in the lodging industry and in the nonprofit industry and in the service to our community. So I'm 100% supportive of that community.
Well, the question is, have I read the entire city book? Over the years, yes, I have. Now, I can't pinpoint by memory which one's which, but I can guarantee you, being on the Planning Commission, involved with the Historic District, and on City Council, almost every part of the city ordinances have come before for me for reading in one way or another. Now, the question was, are there any codes that need to be removed? I'm sure there are. I'm not sure which ones they are, but there's some that the council has enacted that are hard to enforce, if not impossible to enforce. And that's possibly one of the reasons that some of our codes aren't enforced. And some of them cost a lot of money for the city to enforce. One of them is a sidewalk issue. We keep saying, well, why aren't you enforcing the sidewalks? Well, I don't think people realize that the sidewalks belong to the citizens. And if we force the citizens, or if we go in and we had to pay for the citizens, pay for the sidewalks to be repaired, it would cost the city a lot of money, which we don't have. We're still struggling. And they say, well, you can go ahead and put a lien on the property owners. Well, if we do that, a lot of the property owners are held in trust, and they'll just be glad that we go ahead and fix up their property, fix up their sidewalks, and they'll never pay it. So we have to find a new solution to be able to enact these ordinances while not encumbered on the city financially. I'm presently working on a solution that I think is going to work, that will be able to address getting some of the sidewalks repaired. It's going to cost the citizens money, but this is something that we keep hearing about. And I hope that they understand when they come before that they're asked to repair their sidewalks, that this is something that has to be done.
Okay, regarding the city ordinances, and have I read through the whole list of ordinances to date? The answer to that is no, I haven't yet, but I commit that I will before November the 6th. And as I've shared in previous answers, that's not my strength at the moment in terms of knowing and understanding all of the inner workings of the government and city council and all of the ordinances, but my plan would obviously, I'm a quick learner, my plan would be to read and study and learn and depend upon the people in the town who've served valiantly in those positions in the past and the future, and to make sure that all of the ordinances are being enforced within the city. If we have an ordinance, it needs to be enforced.
Well, I hope that where my future lies in Eureka Springs is to see us as a year-round, full-time destination with our citizens. Also, especially with the parks and trails. We are so good with what's happening with our parks right now. We're getting new people. We're getting younger people coming in. We see this constantly. If you look at the sidewalks and the streets, it's a new group of people coming in. The older people, such as myself, they're still coming, but we got a new group that's coming in, and those are the people that we need to cater to and try to attract. But I think more important is we're having a year-round economy. I'm looking forward with the Mayor's Task Force on Economic Development to create some new industry that comes into town that will provide new jobs for our citizens, so they don't have to move away in January or February. And it will also be able to pay more than the minimum wage. We've been working with a group right now in Arkansas that if it works out, they could have anywhere from 20 to 50 new employees with the starting salary around $40,000 and going up to possibly 3 figures or 6 figures in salary. So those are exciting times for me to think about what's going to happen, because it will provide our citizens with a new living wage and able to live here. So many citizens can't afford to live here. And that's the other issue. I hope we'll see a lot more new housing and affordable housing come into town. And I'm not talking about apartments, because to me apartment living is one thing, but it's having the small houses, such as what's going on with the Echo Park and that type of situation. And I think we'll have a new water system with minimum water and new sewer system where we can do our new sewer. And above all, maybe, if we're lucky, maybe we can come up with a new system for parking deck.
Where would I like to see our community in the next 5 years? I have a really optimistic view on the future. I'm an optimist by nature anyway. I'm also a realist, which is necessary and required, I think, to be the leader of any organization, and especially the mayor of a town like Eureka. But I just believe that within our DNA as a town, we have a destiny to be a place of inspiration for the people that live here and for the people that visit here. I think a lot of that inspiration has to do with the arts and entertainment, and I'd like to see that area of our community developed further. More opportunities, more music, more arts, more plays, theaters. Let's make movies here in Eureka Springs. Why not? It's a fantastic place for that kind of thing. The other thing that I see in 5 years is I would like to see, in my work with the Chamber of Commerce, and I led a team on economic development, we came up with an idea to start a sustainability initiative called Love Our Earth 2020. And the idea was to make Eureka Springs the first fully sustainable tourist community in the nation. Sustainable in all respects. And that the result of that would be something that the community could unite behind, something that would result in more tourism, in more jobs, and more companies to the area, and something that we could in essence be like a light on a hill in the future. And I know that might sound a little pie in the sky-ish, but I believe that's who we're destined to be, and I'd like to help be a part of leading us there.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come before the citizens of Eureka Springs. I don't do a lot of posting on Facebook, and I hope this gets out to the citizens to know that I'm sincere, and my heart is for the citizen and city of Eureka Springs. I grew up here. I think we can all agree that we all want the best for Eureka Springs. We've got not only we got to look for the businesses to be successful, but we also got to provide our benefits for our local people who live here, and that's so important. And I hope that the people will get out and vote, and I hope to have your vote come this November. Thank you very much.
Okay, I appreciate your time listening to some of my responses. I know they're short, and I know I'm not covering everything. I am out in the community, and I will be out in the community a lot over the next 7 weeks. I'm really interested in meeting more people one-on-one and in small group situations. I have a Facebook page called Seals for Mayor 2018. If you go there, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to meet with people one-on-one or in small groups for 15 or 30-minute segments to understand what you think about the current state of the city and what you think the major needs are. So I'll open up that door as an opportunity to do so. I believe Butch Berry is a good man, and I believe he's a good mayor. And he's got a skill set that will serve this town well if he wins the election again or if he ends up in the private sector. He's a local, and I think a lot of him, and we have a good relationship. I also have met and spent some time with Theodore Cottingham, and he's a newcomer to town, but he's also got some valuable experience. And he's got some great ideas and thoughts for the future. And I think as a community, if we'll take everybody's gifts and talents and experiences and come together and unify towards a common future and a common goal, that we can be an inspiration to all who live, work, and visit here. And so I would like the opportunity to serve, and I would like the opportunity to lead, And November 6th, you've got options, and I'm one of them, and I hope you seriously consider me.